Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning, and each week we bring you wonderful small business success stories from Triangle BNI. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, if you're not familiar with North Carolina, it's Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Have 29 chapters going strong, have six that are starting, trying to become a chapter, about 600 members. So we have wonderful stories from a lot of people. Each week we bring you a new one, and today we have Mary Stocks. Mary is one of the BNI consulting directors and also the office manager for Steve Hand, who owns the Triangle BNI chapter here. And Mary, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much, Mike. I am excited to be here
All right.
today.
Well, we're going to get into talking a lot about success of some of the BNI chapters, how to get chapters started, all kinds of things that consulting directors in the office do to help people be successful. So glad to have you here today. 2019, we're about mid-March almost. How's everything going with chapters that are under you, and also the fact that you pretty much work with all of them as well?
My chapters are growing great, and I really enjoy the members that are in my chapters. Um, it's exciting to see their successes and their excitement about being in their BNI chapter. So for me, that is one of the best things for me, actually.
And there are 29 that are fully formed chapters, still 6 as core groups. Is that what we have
Yes,
right now?
absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And in different stages of where they are working towards having 17 members
Yes.
to become a full chapter, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's 35 chapters in the area. I think you've worked with all of them at some point in time, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I have worked with most of our chapters that we have
Yeah.
currently.
And they call you for different reasons, right? All kinds of things. And I know that they enjoy the feedback they get from you because I know they're like your little children, aren't they?
They are. They're my children. Some of them are my grandchildren.
Some of them are more behaved than the others. I know my
Yes.
chapter has its moments. So, but,
Absolutely.
so anyways, in a Triangle BNI meeting, it's about an hour and 15 minutes long. BNI is seat specific. So the neat thing is, if you're in a chapter, you're the only person in that industry in the chapter. It's $445 a year, but the goal is to get that money paid back quickly with referrals. The track record for most chapters is pretty good getting that done. And in each chapter, there's a featured speaker, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on the size of the chapter. And each week, the speakers are introduced with the member bio sheet. So we're going to start with that because that's how we do that here. Our speaker today, Mary Stocks, a BNI consulting director and also office manager. So you're in charge of all the things that go on in the office because there's a ton of paperwork coming in and out. Location of the office nearby, and years in business.
I believe Steve's office has been in business for 9 years,
Mhm.
10 years. He bought the business, I think, in either 2007 or 2009. And his office is in Cary.
Okay. And you and Brenda work there.
We do.
So we give the phone number all the time and say, please call that. You can talk to Steve or Mary or Brenda to get answers.
Absolutely.
So previous types of jobs prior to BNI, let's work backwards because you and I talked about this the other day. But so let's work backwards. Previous types of jobs you've had.
HR manager, office manager. I usually deal with office is my biggest thing.
Hmm.
HR manager. I have worked in a power plant. I was in the office, but in the power plant, because I asked so many questions, and if you ask a guy a question, that's like giving a mouse a cookie.
Yeah.
They'll want more. So when you ask a guy a question about what they do, they want you to know what they do. So working in the power plant, I got to go inside of a big turbine when they pulled that down for maintenance. So that was exciting for me to just learn different.
Mm.
It was a steam plant, so
Okay.
to just learn different aspects of that business. Because when I'm working somewhere, I like to know all that I can. So if somebody asks me a question, it makes it easier for me to answer. I've worked for Department of Transportation with FEMA, so it's just
Mm.
different types of things.
And
So
all
I
in
enjoy
different
it.
cities,
In
right?
different, well, all of those were up in Plattsburgh, New York.
Okay.
I
Where it
also
snows a lot. Okay.
I also worked for brain freeze. Lost lost my train.
That's okay.
Um,
Right?
the steam plant,
Yep.
Department of Transportation, and there was another one that I worked for.
Okay.
It was exciting, that
And
one
that's been
was
long
as
ago.
well,
It's,
yeah.
you and I get to
A
certain events
long
like
time
that.
ago. Yes.
1991, can we really remember where we were working? But don't worry about that.
Absolutely.
Personal information, your husband is Kevin,
Yes.
and you have 3 daughters?
I have 3 daughters and 2 son-in-laws
Okay.
sons-in-laws.
And the daughters' names are?
Danielle, Ashley, and Nicole.
Who's watching today?
Ashley.
Say hi, Ashley.
Ashley, love you.
But the most important thing you and I have to talk about are grandkids.
Absolutely. Because of my daughters, love them dearly. I have 6 grandbabies, so love them dearly. Each daughter has 2, and they each have a boy and a girl. So
Very nice.
love those little squishies.
Right. Who's the oldest of the grandkids?
Silas, he is 8, getting ready to go on 9.
Okay.
So, and then his sister is Skylar, and she is getting ready to go on 6. And Josiah is Ashley's, and he is getting ready to go on 7. And he can tell you the exact day, time, location he was born because this is that child. And then his sister, Winona, she is turning 4 soon. And then Emily, she's getting ready to go on 5 when in September. And her little brother is 5 months old. So
Alright.
he
Yep.
is just a
Matthew.
month
Yep.
younger than Oliver.
Okay. And if I remember right, they have different names for you, right?
Yes, they do.
You answer to every name just because 'cause
I
they're calling you,
do.
but what are
I
some of the
do.
names you are called by?
Um, Skylar and Silas call me Nona.
Mhm.
Way back when Skylar couldn't say grandma, so I knew she knew how to say no, so I started playing with names, and Nona came out of that because she could say no. Everybody can say no. And then Emily, she couldn't say Nona, so she calls me No. And then and then Josiah and Winnie call me Grammy. But when Winnie was younger, one day I said, "Hey, baby," to her. So for the longest time, my name was Hey, baby, and I will take it.
But those are the great stories from grandkids because as grandparents, we're all like, "Hey, I'd like to be called this."
Yes,
And it's whatever comes out
yes.
of their mouth. Because my sister, she was, she might, maybe a year and a half as the story goes, with my dad's mom, and this would have been like 1961 or something like that, and they're sitting at the table one day, and my sister wanted to say, "Grandma, would you like a Pepsi?" And it came out, "Gayo, do you want a Payo?" So she was Gayo. That's how it worked out. But I
Right.
love those stories when you get a name, it's like, "That's a cool name, I'm gonna keep that one," because it came from
Absolutely.
one of your grandkids.
Yes.
Do you spoil one more than the other?
It depends which one I'm with.
Okay.
That one gets spoiled. Um, One time I said in front of one of my daughters, "Oh, you're my favorite." And she goes, "Mom, don't say that because you have a bunch." And I'm like, "They're all my favorite.
Yeah. So,
They're all my favorite."
defend that in court, right?
Yes.
So, the last trip you had with any of the grandkids on where you went with them?
I
Did
took
you go anywhere?
Emily to the mall because, Danielle had just had Matthew, and she just needed a little bit of break, and
Mhm.
Emily needed a little bit of out time, um, not baby-centered, but Emily-centered. So we went to the mall, and, we were at the line to get lunch, and I asked her what she wanted, and she piped up and said, "Pepsi," and I said, "No, baby," 'cause I would not know this. Um, so she stopped talking, and so I got her a water because in my head,
Mm,
"Not Pepsi."
yeah.
Then I found out later, it was okay. So I hurt her little feelings, and then she wanted to go back home, so but,
Lesson learned.
yes.
Okay.
So
And
when you
yeah,
ask, "What do you want?" Be prepared with
Pepsi,
the
yeah,
answer. Yes,
okay.
yes.
My oldest son, this would have been we're living in Houston, so he would have been 4, maybe 3, and my mom came to visit, and my son convinced my mom that he was allowed to have 2 bowls of cereal, and he had a spoon in his right hand, a spoon in his left hand, and so when we got home that afternoon, mom was trying to explain to she was questioning us, basically, "Why do you give your son 2 bowls of cereal instead of eating 1 and then eating the other?" We're like, "Mom, we don't do that." She just looked at
Right.
him, and he just busted out laughing, so
Yes.
but those are the great stories of being great kids.
Yep.
Animals in the house?
We have a couple. I have my daughter's parrot. I have my parrot. She's a blue and gold macaw. Her wingspan is 4 feet. She talks. So every once in a while, she will come up with something when I'm walking out the door. She's like, "Love you, buckle up." Like, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much for thinking of me." The other one, Danielle's parrot, he will whistle if you walk by.
Yeah.
So he stays in the living room. He doesn't get close to the bedroom because he likes to whistle. We have our chihuahuas. So it's
Do
like
the parrots talk to each other?
yes, they do actually. They do.
Oh, but that's you need to record that.
So it's
That's good
just
YouTube video right
it
there, huh?
it's interesting.
Okay.
When the dogs go outside, BG will holler, that's my parrot. She will holler to them. She calls them Bob. Not quite sure where Bob came from, but she tells Bob to hurry up and come back in. So it's just it's just she's
Everybody
different.
helping, right? Nice. Hobbies and activities of interest.
I like to sew and I like to travel.
Okay.
Travel is my
And
biggest thing.
we're gonna get to those. Yes, we're gonna get to
Yes.
those on how you should be the spokesperson for the tourism board of
Yes.
Colorado, but we'll get to that. Okay.
Mhm.
City of residence and for how long?
I live in Benson. I have been there since 1999.
Okay. And you use your GPS on roads at night to get home? Is that the story we can tell?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I have to use that because night driving is hard for young people. So, GPS is very, very
Yeah, okay.
important to me.
Your burning desire is to what?
Travel.
Yes.
Travel to Easter Island. I would like to go to Easter Island.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Is that on the books for 2019 or 2020 yet?
Maybe 2020, not
Yeah, okay. All right.
2019.
So
That would
that's already booked up. I know that. We've
yes.
talked about that. The key to your success is
Perseverance, and for me, it's about BNI. It's givers gain.
mhm,
If I help others, eventually that'll come back, but for me, the biggest thing is I like to help others.
yeah. And we're going to talk about some of the things you do with regard to helping chapters on little things that I talk about in training and just have them look around, see who's writing stuff down. But we'll get back to that.
Yes.
So, some new people watching today probably haven't met you yet. Would love to know something no one knows about you.
Well, only my chapters know that, when I was 18, I lived with a nun for a year. When I was 7, I wanted to be a nun, and then I was 18 and no longer wanted to be a nun. But but my dad, he decided that I should live with a nun for a year while I went to, secretarial school. So that is my background, is training in business. Um, it was an interesting year that year. I got to learn a lot of things from living with nuns. So
And how
it's a great
long,
story.
once you moved in with the nuns, how long did it take you to realize, yeah, this is not for me?
Days, days. I lived on the 3rd floor, and my dad and my brother helped bring my furniture, what I needed to live there, up to my room, and I got in trouble for having men in my room, and I'm like, but that was my dad and my brother.
Yeah.
It was they were male, they weren't allowed up past the
Okay.
1st floor, so I learned right then really quickly, really quickly.
Were the other nuns there going to help move your furniture up to the third floor, or was that up to you?
It was up to me. So,
Ooh,
it was a learning
okay.
it was a learning.
All right.
So,
Lived with
it was
nuns for a year. I think that's new on the show. We'll put that in another first, living with nuns.
it's interesting if you ever want to learn different way of being, live with a nun.
Yeah, I think a little different for me than for you right now, but I would imagine that probably some pluses from living there,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. We had a curfew, 9 o'clock PM, and if you were not back on time, the door was locked.
Yeah.
And only if you had a phone or someone knew that you were out, they would let you back in because the doors were locked. The lights were off at 9 o'clock PM. So
Now, I don't want to say you because you're not old, but there were cell phones back then?
there was not.
Okay.
So
Throw
no, there
rocks at the
was
window
not.
up on the second
Yes.
floor?
There was not cell phones.
Or back in the days in early TV, well, I say early TV, but Charlie's Angels, they had those big old car phones, Bosley would pick it up and it's like this big and everything, and that's probably what everybody had.
We actually had payphones
Yes,
where you stuck a dime in.
and that we'll have to do that on another show because I don't think kids, 25 and under have any idea what a payphone is.
I have 45s I found when I
Yeah.
was going through
Oh,
my
yeah.
stuff. I had 45s. My daughters thought that they were CDs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I still have a pack of 45s.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, They were
Well, vinyl's coming back. Yeah, which I was surprised, and I still have some. I gotta figure out where they are, but yeah. S Payphone calls were a dime. Oh, yeah, back in the day, but we could get off on that for another hour or so. So, BNI. So, how would you explain BNI to somebody that is not in BNI?
BNI is a great way to grow your business if you are looking to work with other professionals who you have been able to give, I'd like to say train, that you have trained on a weekly basis on what you are looking for, the types of referral partners you want to meet, the types of clients you want to meet. BNI is a great way to do that by being in a chapter, by plugging yourself into the group, by plugging into other members, by doing one to ones, by making sure that your 35, 45, 60-second presentation is spot on, that you're being specific. If you go into your meeting and you say, I'm just looking to work with anyone with blood, for
Which you
me,
have a member that does that,
yes, I
yes.
do. I do have a member who does that. And I really honestly don't know
Which
how to
is
help that person
yeah,
because what do I say? Everybody in the meeting has blood. But two, do I just walk up to somebody out in the street? Hey, do you have blood? Do you want to meet this person? Um, so for me, I always say be specific because that helps me as a consulting director help you find that person that you are truly looking for.
in the chapters you work with, who are 1 or 2 of the ones that do the best explanation asking for specifics?
In one of my chapters, chapter 21, Glenwood South Connection, Jen Bordeaux,
Who's been on the show,
she has
friend
been
of the
on the
show, yep.
show, and every month she selects the topic that she wants to cover, and she says, "This month we're gonna focus on this particular item." And
She's
so
with a law firm, yep.
she's with New Direction
Mhm.
Family Law, and each month she will talk about how to become, from bitter to better, from victim to victorious, but she will take an aspect of, what she does, and we will talk about it then she talks about that for the entire month to help the members find her those type of people because we all know someone who may be going through a separation or through a
Mhm.
divorce, but those people, they don't really know how to reach out, but we know those people, so if we can connect them to Jen just by hearing the types of stories that she covers every week, it makes it easier for us to refer to her, and she's one of my top referral partners in that chapter.
And we talk a lot about with folks on the show, being specific, because we know we have to educate the other members. Some of our industries are very easy. I'm in pest control, pretty easy. Ants,
Right.
cockroaches, mice, I get all that. But you get into financial, legal, health, even with Pam Goodman on here a couple weeks ago with tutoring. Okay, kind of know it, but what am I listening for? And
Right.
and that's the other thing is what am I listening for? Help me with that. And also, let's talk through some of the myths of your industry. Help me get through that.
Yes.
But back to the listening part of it, I know once I joined BNI, I listened completely different after the first meeting. When I
Absolutely.
was with a client and all of a sudden they said, "Oh, this computer system's killing me." Well, I didn't know anybody 2 weeks ago. Now that I'm in BNI, I knew a computer person to help them. So,
One of my, chapter RD21, the Glenwood South Connection, they had their visitor day a couple weeks ago, and my presentation had to do with color. You see your
yes.
clients as a specific color, such as your clients are green. My clients are gold. So I need to train my members on how to see my gold clients because their colors are different from mine. Whereas your clients are different from Amnon's, they're different from mine. So
Yeah.
you have to help me see those because I only can see my client colors. You only see yours. So what we're doing in our BNI chapters are training each other on how to see not only your colors, but ours as well.
Yeah.
So,
And early on when you join BNI and when I do my member success training, I always tell people that the first time I stood up to do I think it was 45 seconds, I wanted to tell the history of the company
yes.
in 45 seconds and nobody they're not going to remember anything from that. So it is important to find that one topic for about 3 weeks, specifically on who you're looking for, because I could make an assumption on who people in my chapter who I think they're looking for, but it may not even be close to who they're really looking for.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
know because one of the things I tell with pest control is I'd like to get into the nicer neighborhoods, Briar Creek, Preston, Wakefield, all that good stuff, but I can't go knocking on doors. I
Right.
don't think the HOA would like that. I don't think the people would like that. And I don't want to make anybody mad knocking on doors like, get out of here. Plus, gray hair, 57-year-old man walking through the neighborhood in the afternoon, probably not the right thing to do. So I have to tell people these are the moms or the stay-at-home moms or the dads, whoever I'm looking for. So now let's find them through the church, the PTA, little league, all that stuff. So you learn sometimes to work out from who
Right.
you're looking for to find that referral partner that'll find you the 10 clients instead of, oh, I got one client. But if you find that referral partner, ooh, they just got me 9 more. So, and I
Yes.
know you work with your folks as well, trying to train them on that.
Yes, I always ask them to close their eyes, vision their perfect client,
Mhm.
write that type of client, their demographics on a piece of paper, and then let's focus on who comes in contact with that type of client on a daily basis. And then let's look at those people as the referral partners for that client. Because I may be able to help you find a client, such as when my one daughter was buying a house.
Mhm.
I know my daughter, I know her personality. So in my 6 chapters, I needed to look at the realtors there who would be the best one for her. Um, and I did. She found my daughter when she bought her house. She went to close in less than 21 days because she had her list. She knew what,
Mhm.
because I had already prepped her ahead of
And
time.
who's the realtor she used?
Yes, Mary Kay Clapp.
Mhm.
She was the realtor in chapter RD 17 in Clayton. So I asked her ahead of time, "Hey, can you work with this daughter?" She is very intense. She has a lot of questions. She only wants to work with a realtor in Johnston County, and she only wants to work with a female. And she said, "Absolutely." I connected the two, and within 21 days, they had a house they saw that they really liked. Um, they closed
Yeah.
in 21 days. So for me, when I'm listening to what you're looking for, I may not be able to find you your next client to buy a house. But if you tell me the types, your specific type of
Mm.
client, and let's work with the referral partners, I can always find you those people.
So you have a daughter that's intense and asks a lot of questions. Huh.
Yes.
Must have gotten that from her father, I'm sure, right? Yeah.
Absolutely,
At
absolutely.
least the intense part of it, right? So we talked earlier about some of the things you like to do. You mentioned travel. And
Yes,
so I know a couple times a year, and I mentioned this the other day at a meeting we were in, a couple times a year, you're in the minority that you enjoy vacations by yourself, right?
I absolutely do. I know that I do. When you go on vacation to just do a brain dump, just to
Mhm.
chill, you don't want to have to when you're on vacation, you don't want to have to be responsible for somebody else's happiness, whether or not that they're eating at an exact time, they're eating the exact place that they need to eat at, that you're waking up with, you're getting up at their time that they
Yeah.
need to get up. You just want to chill and do your own thing. That's what I've learned, that I really like to do that. So, and I've pulled a few friends to make sure that it's not a selfish thing. They assure me that it's not.
Wouldn't matter. It does, it's your time, right?
So, yeah, absolutely, and, they truly understood, and I'm like, it makes me feel better about when my husband says, "Are you bringing me on this vacation?"
Yeah.
"No." "No."
And the
"Love
fact
you, thank
yeah,
you for bringing me to the airport and picking me up, I
yeah,
appreciate that, I really, truly do, but this is me time."
yeah, and the fact that the daughters and the grandkids aren't invited either tells everybody, "Don't even ask,"
Absolutely.
right?
And I truly love my family, truly love my family, and I love my friends too, but no, I'm not
Yeah,
bringing anybody with me.
yeah, and you go to Colorado a couple
I
times a
do,
year,
I do.
so the, Board of Tourism should I think I'll write them a note. You need to have Mary talk about why Colorado is so great. So what kind of things have you learned to do there? Because 'Cause you've been there how many times?
7?
7? Okay, I was gonna go
7
5 or
in 2
6.
years?
Okay, 7 in 2 years?
Yes.
Is that too many? Let's ask
No,
ourselves.
absolutely
Probably
not.
not, right? So what are things you're learning, what are things that you do there when you go to Colorado?
I love taking nature pictures.
Mhm.
So I just did a poll last night, on my Colorado website, photography website, where are some places I need to visit when I come back out, because that is a given, I will be back out. And, there is Mary Lake. I found out
Yes.
that's in Rocky Mountain National Park,
Right.
so I must go visit
And you
that.
need a name. You need a photo by the sign that says Mary Lake, and
Yes,
then you can Photoshop in apostrophe S, Mary's Lake, and that could be your
absolutely.
place, right?
It's
Yeah.
very pretty,
Yeah.
apparently. Um, I
It's
like
intense, asks a lot of questions. It's Mary Lake.
My favorite is while I'm out there, I use my GPS for everything. When you are in the mountains, the GPS doesn't work quite so well. So when it says take the next road and there's no sign and it's gravel,
Yeah.
sometimes I continue driving on because I saw the movie way back when I was younger, Last house on the left? No, we are not taking no side road no side roads. But I enjoy taking the picture. I really do
Mhm.
enjoy, the pictures. I've taken myself to Garden of the Gods. It's gorgeous there. The
Yep.
sky is a gorgeous blue. Um, my favorite is going to the zoo because the giraffes are right inside the front door,
Oh, yeah?
and you get to feed them. And so, I've giraffe slime is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Goes with your shoes, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, it does.
It wanted well, so you vacation by yourself for a reason, but you go to Colorado for a couple reasons, and one is because you battle with migraines, and
Not
the
a couple
weather's
reason not a couple reasons, because I don't want people to think I'm going there for
No, I was gonna
strange
go
lollipops.
time by yourself and the
Yes,
migraines. I wouldn't even get
yes.
the pot stuff there, so but you have migraines, and the weather there is just way better.
Absolutely. Here we are at sea level, 200 feet above sea level, so the barometric pressure plays havoc on my body and the migraines. When I'm in Colorado, we are 8,000 to
Yeah.
14,000 feet above sea level, and in those 7 days that I'm there, I've done 10, 15 different things. I've gone here, there, everywhere, and it is a great feeling to not hurt, to not have a migraine, so I enjoy that's my main reason for traveling.
'Cause just look at the weather here the last couple weeks. I mean, we've gone from 25 to 65, back down to 30, back up to 70, and that's just a mess for you, isn't it?
It is. The
Yeah.
rain, the
Yeah.
snow, the off chance of snow, so for me, my body reacts better to straight temperature. If we're gonna do 30s, let's do 30s. Let's not do 30 at 6 AM and then 90 at
Yeah.
8 AM,
Yeah.
so it's just different.
Well, I'm glad you found that, and I'm glad you enjoy going there and by yourself. It
There
just
is
works
a
out well,
gas
yes.
station right next to the zoo
Oh,
that
yeah.
says "Grass and Go," and I'm like, "Wow, that's so cool."
I like
I like that. So, yes.
You know, all kinds of cool names, I'm sure, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that
Yes.
yeah.
And I'm driving by and I'm like, "Grass and Go, Grass and Go." "Oh, look
Ah,
at that."
I gotta
You
tell
can get
people
that at
that.
the gas station.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
so
Everywhere you want that, so and you
okay.
know not to go actually, you did go in the wintertime,
I
so you did
did.
get some skiing in.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
got a lot of falling down in.
okay, I went up and down the bunny slope 15 times. 8 of those times, I was on my feet the whole way down. The other 7, not so
Okay.
much. I
It's
did you're going down the hill so fast, and even it's a bunny slope, but for me, it's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna go off into the ditch,
mhm.
so I need to stop, drop, drop on the butt,
You just
stop
fall,
quicker."
okay, alright.
Yes. My, ski instructor was phenomenal. They talked me through several times, and I finally said, "Okay, don't talk to me this time around because I wanna see if I remember what you said." Very first time getting off the lift, we talked about how to exit the lift, but we didn't talk anything about the poles, so I'm in my head, "I need to use these." Plunk right into the snow as soon as I got off,
Mm,
dropped. If they hadn't been paying attention, the seat would have flattened me, but, live and learn.
okay. Young guy named Sven is a ski instructor, which you won't mention, but I will, but we'll
Sven
move
was
on. Right.
amazing. They could ski forward, backward, hold my skis to make sure I
Yeah.
didn't cross my
Because
skis.
you just asked for the best, and
I
here comes
did,
this 25-year-old.
I
Yeah,
did.
good
It
for
was
you,
great,
Mary. Yeah.
and I saw these little 2 and 3-year-olds skiing, not falling. I'm like, "I want to do that
That
too. How do we do that?" Because my whole thing was, I can't fall the whole
yeah.
way down."
That's very positive thinking, yeah. Yeah. So,
And
okay,
then
cool.
my ski instructor was screaming, "Do you not see that pole?"
Yeah.
"I do, but there's a fence." I was more concerned with the fence.
As these 8 two-year-olds go flying by you, right?
Yes. Yes.
So alright, so you go to Colorado a couple times a year, you do the brain dump, as you call it, so then
Yes.
you come back to your chapters, which you love.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about some of the chapters you have.
My Monday chapter is RDO2, Carry Connections. Dr. Ashley, she
Neat,
was
yep,
on your show a
friend of the
few weeks
show.
back.
Yep,
Phenomenal chapter. We launched them last July, and they are on the grow. They have about 16 members. If you are looking to grow your business on a Monday, that would be a
mhm,
great place to visit.
at the Maiden Inn,
They
yep,
meet at the Main Inn 8:30 Monday mornings. So phenomenal chapter. Enjoy them. They have a great personality. Josh Manning, I don't believe he's been on your show yet,
has not.
but we had talked way back and I always when somebody calls me, I always try to plug them into one of my chapters because I get to see them and I get to work with them. Um, but if one of my chapters is not a fit for them, then I'll help them find a different one. But I always look to fill my chapters. Josh and I, we had talked, and he decided to join the Monday group. And through BNI, he has taken a trip to Africa. He's been on um, the
Does video production.
he does
Yes.
video
Yeah.
production, so he has been on the cover of several magazines for Carrie, so his business has grown
Mhm.
a lot since joining BNI, and he's a success story, and I enjoy that he's in that group, so,
Cool.
that's my Monday group. I have 2 Tuesday groups. My chapter RD13, they meet at the Wade Art Cafe Tuesday morning, 8:30, um, sorry, 8 AM. Another group that is growing, I've been working with them since the end of last year, and we have Tanya Little. She is, with Tanya Little Total Care Package. She's a realtor, and she also provides not interior design, but she is also
Staging. Yep.
staging. She provides that for her clients, so it's a great chapter to visit. And then I have a new chapter that I just picked up in January. They are my Mebane chapter, RD20. They meet Tuesday at 8:30 in Mebane, and they are getting ready to kick off and have a big visitor day. So I'm excited about their growth.
And that's
Um,
the furthest one west, correct?
my furthest one west, GPS and I, we were
Oh, tell that story. You gotta tell this
we
story.
apparently I fumbled with my GPS the night before with my phone, and the next morning, my GPS decides to take me it's an hour and 45-minute drive to Mebane from where I live, and my GPS decides it's
This
gonna
is
take
good.
me on every back road there is in Johnston County. I'm not quite sure. I figured that there is an accident on 40, which is why we're not taking 40. And Mike calls me and says, "Hey, where are you located? 'Cause can I ask you a couple questions?" I said, "Sure, I'm on the middle of nowhere driving." And he goes, "Mary, I don't think that there's an accident on 40 the entire way." I'm like, "Well, GPS is taking me the back roads." And I did get to the meeting on time. And then when I was leaving, I realized my GPS was still taking me on all the back roads and I had to pull over. And apparently I had told my GPS at some point, we are not going to take the highway ever, ever. So I was like, Lord have mercy.
And if you've ever been from Benson trying to get to Mebane without using I-40, it's a country
Yeah.
day drive
It
is what
was.
it
I got to see
is.
there's bingo places out there in the middle of nowhere I did not know
Yeah,
existed.
yeah,
So it was a rather interesting trip. Did not run across any buses while I was out there.
yeah.
Left at 6:15 in the morning.
Mhm,
Still made it on time. However, I told my GPS, "Let's not do that again."
yeah.
So,
And you couldn't even blame that on the grandkids.
no, it was
Mm,
me. Apparently, somehow I fumbled my phone and turned it off.
mm. But, the Mebane Group is the furthest one west in Triangle BNI, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
alright. And Noemi Rodriguez, who is their, mortgage person, friend of the show, she's
yes.
been on, also stand-up comedian, and we talked a little bit about that when she was on the show, so she's
Absolutely, and
pretty
she's
fun.
the president of this chapter, and
Yeah.
this chapter is excited about, working with a program that I've created last year to help chapters reach, BNI numbers.
Mhm.
We usually look to have a chapter a minimum of 17 members, um, but because we know that when you reach 25 members, everyone in the chapter is making a lot of money. So our whole process is helping a chapter grow at least to 17 members,
Mhm.
which is our launch number for any chapter worldwide. You have to have at least 17 members as a core group to launch as an official chapter. So I try to get chapters to a minimum of 17 members, but then I want them to continue to grow to at least 25 because I know that by doing that, all the members in the chapter are suddenly successful with their business.
We're talking with Mary Stocks, BNI consulting director and also the office manager for the Triangle BNI office. You can give her a call at 919-465-1667. And if she's not in the office, you can talk to Brenda. Any questions you have, they can help you. I know that you've started a good number of chapters as well. So usually what's the biggest challenges and usually, let me back up here for the folks watching, if you're not familiar with BNI. With it being seat specific, the 3 most popular seats that are in every chapter are the realtor, the mortgage broker, and the property and casualty insurance person
And financial
and
advisor.
financial, yeah. So those are the 4. So if you're in one of those 4 seats and that seat is not open in any chapter in Triangle BNI, you're gonna have to start your own. And so that usually brings them to you to say, "Hey, Mary, all the seats are full in the chapters I wanna get in. I wanna start my own. What do I need to bring to you? What do I need to do for that first meeting when they call you?"
So I usually tell them that I need at least 10 people at that first meeting, 10 people who are interested in potentially being in a BNI chapter. And if you can ahead of time, get them to fill out an application.
Mm,
We usually ask that if you are a realtor and you're starting your own group, to find the mortgage broker that you are
yeah,
wanting to work with, because
yeah,
that's a very important um, relationship to have. If you start a group, but your mortgage broker isn't the one that you normally use, it makes for a difficult decision later on. So I always say bring the mortgage broker that you want to work with.
that relationship has to happen. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
the chapter's never gonna go anywhere.
Absolutely. So once they have 10 non-competing seats people there. We talk about the pros and cons of starting a group. It is a lot of work. Sometimes
Mhm,
people think that people who've never been in BNI think that, oh, this is no big deal. This could be like what I do at Leeds. It's not. There is a lot of work because one, you have to be inviting every week because if you're not inviting, we're not reaching the people that we need to get to grow the group for you. There's training I provide. For me, I provide training along the way because I want you to know how to do each role
yeah.
so that way there, when we launch the group, you know what to expect on the particular role that you're gonna hold. So
And the inviting is the hardest thing to do. It's the only way you can grow your chapter, but it's the hardest thing to do, especially if you don't network very much. And a lot of people in BNI, sometimes this is the first networking they've ever done.
right, sometimes they think that, "Well, I networked at my BNI chapter, that's all I needed to do this week."
Not even
Really, it's
close.
not. It's not. Um,
Because in theory, well, actually, on average, each person in BNI knows about 250 people.
yes.
And then you look at the if you look at the networkers, basically the mega networkers, and
Mhm.
we've had some of them on the show, that number grows by 4, by 5, by 6 times.
Right.
We get it, Joe Navarro, who's been on the show, business coach and speaker. I mean, he networks everywhere, and I know he's just, that's one of 4 or 5 people in BNI that are mega networkers, and they can bring a ton to the table, but they've worked hard to get to those numbers.
Absolutely. Last year, Joe had 258 one-to-ones that he did, because he knows, 1, to grow his group, he
Mhm.
needs to do the one-to-ones because from that, he invites them to his chapter to visit, and that's my $1,000,000 chapter. They meet Fridays and absolutely love their energy. When I first took this group over, I as a CD, funnily asked them it's a new word
That's
today.
it. I like that. We
I
like
asked
firsts.
them, "Okay, so the energy in the room, is it because it's Friday or is it because of the people?" They assured me it's
Oh,
because of the people, and since I've had the group for 3 years, it is
it's the
because of the
people.
people. It
Oh, they
is really,
do. Yeah.
truly the people.
And we've had a couple people from that chapter on the show. And
Sean?
yeah, and I know what he's gonna say because he does this about once a month. He has to tell me, "Get out of the weeds, tell everybody what a one-to-one is," because I was going right there next.
No,
So,
that's not what I was gonna
okay,
say.
right.
A lot of people think that to invite somebody, that person that you're inviting is to be an independent, own their own business. It's not. You can
Correct.
invite
Mhm.
anybody that works for a company. They may get the company actually to
Yeah.
uh, pay for the membership, even if the company sees that, yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
can benefit us. So don't just look for independents and business owners, which it is better, but anybody could be a member.
In my chapter, Andy Kraft is with Spectrum. And don't get as big, much bigger in the Raleigh area than that. So, and you're right, because we had so focused on solopreneurs and stuff like that that you forget because, I mean, he's got his numbers to hit. He's a sales guy, so he has
Mhm.
his numbers to hit. So, yeah, they picked that up, but that's a good point. So, back to the one to ones. What is a one to one?
Well, I want to go off what Amnon just said. One of the consulting directors, Randy Griffin, who used to be here, he's now in the Wilmington. He brought his grandmother because she wanted to see
Yeah.
what her grandson did on a weekly basis as a consulting director. He knew she wasn't gonna join, the group knew she wasn't going to join. However, as a visitor, the visitor has the potential of spending like $1,000
Mhm.
per chapter. So while there, she got her hair done. She saw the Mary Kay person, she got makeup. She had a massage done. She brought her car to the auto person, got that repair. Her grandson paid $1,500 worth of business that she did for the chapter.
Mhm.
Again, she wasn't going to join, but as a visitor, she utilized a lot of the services. So I always tell my groups, don't vet the person, invite
Yeah.
them. Invite the neighbor, the babysitter, the stay-at-home mom, because chances are that stay-at-home mom knows, 1, she either needs your
Mm.
services or she knows someone who needs your services.
And let me piggyback on that. In a chapter, I guess they've been closed for a couple years. One of the guys invited, and for purposes of the story, I will tell everybody she's a stay-at-home mom, but she plays bunco.
Mhm,
And so all the women in the neighborhood, I think about once a month they get together, and she gave 5 referrals that day because I think there's a lawn cutting guy and an HVAC guy.
mhm,
And again, you just never know. Just invite the people.
absolutely.
You never know who's coming in. I mean, you have plenty of stories of one time, oh, they just happened to be there and you were there and business turned from that. So,
Absolutely. I like to talk what is a one-to-one? It's where 2 BNI members or a BNI member and a non-BNI member get together. They talk about, the first 20 minutes, one talks about themselves, whatever information they wanna share, and then the other 20 minutes, the other person gets to talk about their business, family, friends type of thing. They talk about whatever it is that they want the other person to know. And then the last 20 minutes they spend, how can we work together?
mm,
How can we have a relationship where we refer to each other? What would it take from me to get you to use me only as your payroll consultant or as your Mary Kay person or as the lady who provides chocolate?
mhm,
What can I do to ensure that I'm that one? So is what a one-to-one is. Sometimes people think, well, I only need to do one one-to-one, but in actuality, you should be doing at least 4 with that person because the very first one, you activate that relationship with them.
yeah,
Um, so then they know you a little bit, but then they have to learn to like and trust you as well. So by asking more specific questions during the next one-to-one and then the next one-to-one, um, a productive one-to-one, you have a short-term goal. That's a productive one. You also have a long-term
mhm,
goal. You have 3 visitors that you're each gonna bring each other to introduce to you, and then you have a follow-up plan on how that came about. Did you say you were gonna bring 3 visitors in to introduce me to, but you haven't brought any? How can I help you, um, move that further along type of thing? So, always have those 4
yeah.
items will help you with your one-to-ones.
And you're actually a good example of what you can learn from a one-to-one because while you're not in BNI, you're a consulting director, but you got a side hustle, don't you?
I do.
You do.
I do.
What do you do on your what is your side hustle?
My side hustle, I have many. My favorite one is I like to sew. I
Yes.
started way back because of the migraines.
Mhm.
If you have to stand in your closet for 20, 30 minutes and try 10 different things on to find something that fits you where you feel good in it. My oldest daughter, Danielle, introduced me to, "Mom, I'm in a fabric site. Come pet my fabric." So I did. So now if I go in a store, I feel the fabric and I'm like, I really like the fabric that I buy. So
Yeah.
I buy custom fabric. Um, I started out just for myself. I told myself I was only gonna sew for myself. And then I saw some custom fabric for the grandbabies. I'm like, "Ooh,
And
I think
then
I might
yeah.
have to sew for them."
Yeah, the world changed then, didn't
It
it?
did. So for my grandchildren, what I start with 1 shirt because I have this fabric I love. I know that they're gonna love, so I cut out 1 shirt, and by the time we're done, they have 12.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
just because
That's
I
what
found something
grandmothers
I
do, yeah.
yes. My one grandson, Josiah, he loves dinosaurs right now. So I have 8, 9 different types of dinosaur fabric. He has 12 shirts. So he had to try on every single one, and he spent the whole morning growling in each of his shirts because
Yeah.
it's just but
But that's the beauty of the
mhm,
one-to-ones though, is you get time to learn more about, yes, this is my seat in the chapter, but and you've actually gotten some business out of it, and you're kinda starting to figure out, "Hey, how do I kinda grow this a little bit more," right?
absolutely. My son-in-law, Devin, he loves clowns. So I found the
Boy,
perfect
did he marry in the right family.
yes. I found the perfect it fabric, and I made him 2 different sweatshirts. 2 hooded sweat one was a hooded sweatshirt, the other one was a hooded sweatshirt, but it was lined so he could wear it in the winter. But they both have clowns, and I tried something different where I scored the fabric. I used black fabric, but I scored it where it looked like somebody had clawed the fabric, and underneath I had sewn red so it looked like scratch marks on it. So his boss,
Jeez.
who has a ton of money, said, "You know what? I need a shirt like that." So I bought fabric for him to make his shirt. And then it's starting to grow from there.
Yeah,
So
and Coach Chris,
Coach
right,
Chris
who's
has
been on the
asked
friend of the show.
he asked for a shirt, and me being my
Mhm.
wise self said, "I will bring you a floral shirt," and he said he would wear it.
Yeah.
So when you see him wearing a floral shirt, I made
Yes.
it. I
I'm
made
sure
it.
he'll post pictures of that.
I made it.
But again, through BNI, when you make something for someone to wear and then they tell their chapter and then 2 more friends outside of that in BNI, that business, you could grow that, at the rate you want to, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now for women, probably easy to get the size they need, but for guys, right? Kinda gotta measure them.
Well, the women too, you have to measure. To make clothes custom for your body size, it's not off the rack. I
Yes.
actually measure each like my grandchildren, each of them have been measured, and every 6 months we remeasure just to make sure they
Mhm.
haven't grown out of their size. But I measure each person. If I'm sewing something for them, I have to
Yeah.
measure them, to make sure that what they're getting from me actually fits their body. So
And Chris actually does have a barrel 38 chest. He really does because he was a wrestler. But most guys, we would kind of sit up and go, well, let me, it's pretty thin here. And, it's like, no, just let me do my stuff. I could get my numbers.
his chest is actually, I think he said a
It
46.
easily is. Easily.
And he said when he was measuring his waist, he was like, "Ooh, I really need to be working on that." He did not like his waist size. So,
The other thing I like about what you do for women is because it's not we guys, we're like, "I need a blue shirt." Flip, flip,
right,
flip. Okay, that sounds good. I'll take that one, and we're out of shopping. But for women, it's different, and you can't always buy off the rack
correct.
for something that not only fits, but makes you feel good in it. And I know that's one of your prime directives to make something for somebody that they feel good in.
Absolutely. For me, being in North Carolina, it's hot out. It really truly is hot out. I do not like my clothes sweating, so
Yeah.
I like to buy bamboo lycra, that allows your body to breathe.
Okay.
So and it's a pricier fabric, but I do like to buy that one. Um, and then that we have wicking fabric, so you could be out. When I went to a concert last summer, I made a top that was out of swim fabric. It automatically dries. It gets wet, it dries.
Mhm.
So you could be outside at a concert and be comfortable. So that's my whole goal, to be comfortable in my clothes. So
And you, I know were you making Josiah a hoodie? Who were you making a hoodie that just he wasn't happy no matter what you did?
Josiah,
Yeah.
I made him a shirt. This child remembers everything. So if you say you're going to do something,
Mm,
you must do it. He asked for a hoodie. I made him a sweatshirt, not thinking that the hoodie meant it had to have a hood on it.
mm.
Made him a sweatshirt. While he loved the sweatshirt, he was upset because it had no hood. So he gave it back to me. He goes, "I bet you can't make it with a hood." Challenge accepted.
Yes, exactly.
So, yes, he got his hoodie.
And they'll have clothes for him as long as you're making clothes, right?
Absolutely.
And you actually buy some material in Colorado, don't you?
I do. Every
Yeah,
time I go out there, I
yeah.
go there's a fabric store unlike Michael's and, Hobby Lobby, and Joann's. It's a fabric warehouse. It's huge. Whatever type of fabric you're looking for is there. So I like to go in and pet the fabric
Mhm, there you go.
because if it doesn't feel good in my fingers, then I know that I'm not gonna enjoy
Mhm.
wearing it.
Yeah,
So I spend hours there.
and ship it back, right?
I do, I ship it back.
Yeah.
Either what the very first time I went out there, I brought a suitcase. I went fabric shopping and I decided, you know what? The fabric is more important to me. I left clothes. I left my clothes there because I knew I could make some more. But now, I've gotten better at that. I bring my clothes home because I bring only the clothes that I've made, whereas the first time I visited, I brought clothes I bought.
Okay,
So
alright.
I left those there.
Yeah.
So now I bring clothes that I've made so I ship the fabric back home, or I'll ship my clothes home and bring my fabric in my suitcase.
Now, I think Amnon and I would know that fabric store is a hemp store, but
It's not,
probably
it's
not. Yeah,
not.
that would be our that was my next question was, "You sure it's so?" Yeah, yeah, so,
Yes.
but you actually though, that's part of the fun of going to Colorado,
Yes.
is sightseeing and stuff, and you stumbled on that one day, and it's like, "Hey, I think I can do this," but going back to the one-to-ones though, that's what people can learn from you and help you and think, "Oh, well, I have a friend of mine that's always struggling with finding something to wear," and, get you to do that.
Absolutely.
And if you don't feel, if I remember correctly, there are instructions you can learn how to do a good one-on-one.
Yes, there
Yes.
are.
So don't feel intimidated by it because you will be given the information and you can actually see and, oh yeah, I could do that. Because
Absolutely.
we talk about it and it's like,
Mm,
yeah, but I don't know how to approach people. I don't know how to do this. And you can learn.
yeah,
Absolutely. As a BNI member, we recommend as soon as you come into BNI to go to member success training within your first 60 days. And I know that you do member success training,
mhm,
and that's where you start training them
yeah,
the basics. One of those is how to do a productive one to
mhm,
one, how to give a good 60-second presentation, how to do your 10-minute. So that's one of the
yeah.
benefits that you provide as a consulting director as well.
In one of the things with the previous guests we've had on the show, not everybody likes to stand up and talk, whether you're in a room of 5 or in a room of 500, and they've all told us that it has benefited their public speaking skills because you have to stand up every
Right.
week
Right.
and over time, and we've actually a couple of new, one of my training last week uh, at the Frontier, Holly,
Grassley?
yeah. We're talking about that, and she had a typical question of somebody new in BNI. She goes, "How do I get better at this?" And we just told her, "Just record it." 'Cause video changes everything, especially
Right.
when you see yourself, you can either go, "Ooh," or you can go, "Huh, not bad."
Right.
But when you hear it and you begin to practice it, then you can learn to refine that, and, "Okay, here's my message point." Because then we get into once you do that, "Alright, here's your message point." So, in the world of advertising, they tell you, you gotta see an image 7 times before you go, I should buy that now, I like that." And in B&I, I don't think it's quite that often you would have to do that. But then we start telling people, "Hey, for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, just pick one thing. This is who I'm looking for. This is who I'm looking for." Because over time, then they're gonna get that. And it is difficult if you're not a public speaker, and I know you just love standing up talking in front of people,
Yep.
so it's the same type thing, right?
Absolutely. Yes. But also when you may be given your 60-second and you think that you are being clear and that you are asking, but
Mm.
if you tape yourself and
Yep.
listen,
Yep.
you realize that "Yeah, I'm really not getting my message across. So let me tweak that a little bit. Um,
Yeah, and if you've never done that, you have no idea how long 45 seconds could be 'cause
yes.
you start talking, "I'm Mike with pest control, and, we do this." Okay, there's 8 seconds, you got
Yeah.
37 more, so and you see
Yes.
people standing there, so you know they're rambling, and if you can record that, you can find the point. Boy, after 15 seconds, I just lost it, I'm, like, way over here, so but those are the things you learn at BNI, and those are some of the neat things we can do with training, tell people do that, because at the end of the day, I have to educate you on my business,
Right.
otherwise, you can't tell your friends and clients what the heck I do or why they should call me.
Absolutely. And the whole point of being in BNI is for the referrals and helping each other. So if you are not being clear on what you're looking for, how can someone else be clear looking for you as well? Because again, we only see our color, but do you have time to look at all your members in your chapter and say, well, let me do some research and find you some clients? Do you have that time?
No, I
As
should.
as a consulting director, no, actually, you should not be looking. Can you find somebody, a client, if they say, "I'm looking for anybody who has blood?"
No, I
Do you
cannot.
want to take that time to look for
No,
that?
I do not.
So
Right,
that's what our goal is, to train you so that way there you don't have to work looking for our
right.
clients.
But if you tell me I wanna meet Bill Smith with XYZ company,
Yes.
I may not know Bill Smith, but, "Oh, my neighbor works there. Let me start there."
But also, so if you're looking for XYZ company, what about ABC company? They're very similar.
Mhm.
Do you wanna meet that person
Yeah.
as well?
Oh, sure.
Because I don't know this person.
Yeah.
So it just snowballs from
Mhm.
there. But if you just say, I'm looking for anybody with blood, as a consulting director, I don't know how to. So, but that's when I would set up a one to one with you to say, hey, okay, let's talk a little bit more about what you're
Yeah.
looking for.
And you find and one of the funny things was, and again, I'm bad with bad names, so I'm coming to you. Maryland, that my Wake Forest training last month does Mary Kay.
Maryland
Mary Lynn, yeah.
Dawson.
And we're talking about that, and I wouldn't as a guy, I'm like, "Oh, Mary Kay, okay, I'm out of this conversation," right? But Miller Lawson was there, and he's red hair and fair skin, and he bought some sunscreen from her and the family they were going to the Bahamas. He said the whole time never got sunburned because he, as a guy, bought sunscreen from the Mary Kay lady. And again, that's her educating us to go, okay, stupid guys, this
You
works for
have
you too.
skin, you have
And
skin.
we have a wife and a
Yes.
daughter-in-law, or something like that. But those are the type of simple things that we just don't think about on literally dumb it down on educating people. But for guys, we're like, "Hey, yeah, I don't, you know."
You have grandbaby, he has skin.
I know, and I need to keep him perfect as he is, so yeah.
Absolutely.
So, a couple of good success stories in BNI that you've seen, either with, some individuals or chapters. This show is just it's all about stories, and we love telling stories, so tell us a couple of success stories you've seen.
So one of my chapters, I picked them up last March, and one of the things that I wanted to do with them as a consulting director for them was help them grow to at least 17 members. So one of the things I did, I provided chapter training. I provided seat specific training to each of the members on the leadership team. So that way there, they knew exactly what was expected for them for that particular role as the president, as the educational coordinator, all the way to the visitor host, because I wanted to make sure I had everybody plugged in. And by doing that, by being there every week with them, I'm there every week with them because I love them. Um, because I love them actually so I am there every week. Do I have to be? No, but I choose to be because I do enjoy them. But by being with them, by training them, by working with them, doing the one-to-ones with each person, they grew their they doubled their chapter. They grew by adding 11 new members. So December 2018, they had grown to 20 members for that chapter. So they doubled in size. The chapter is stronger. They when they have a question, they come to me. If they're looking for training, if they're looking whatever it is that they're looking for, they usually come to me. They have a monthly visitor day, and they've had great success with that. They also um, their educational coordinator. As soon as he joined, he jumped right on that role. So each person in that chapter has rallied around the whole group, and that group has moved forward. It's amazing watching the growth.
Mm.
So I truly enjoy them.
And there's a couple of individual success stories I wanted to talk to you about as well. I know in RD16 meets Friday mornings at North Carolina Wesleyan, their
Yes,
realtor has set the bar for all realtors in BNI.
absolutely. Paul J. Stinson, absolutely love that man. Um, if you are looking for a friendly realtor, and there are friendly realtors in BNI, but Paul is amazing. The chapter loves him to pieces. He has been in BNI since hold on, I wrote this down. He's been in BNI for 9 years. He has passed over $1 million worth of business to his chapter members. He thinks about his members first and foremost. He takes care of his clients. Everyone in that chapter truly respects him. He's an amazing man.
And that's the embodiment of BNI. First of all, when you join, you're joining for your fellow members so you can help them. So it tells you he listens
Yes.
and he's conscious on trying to find contacts for them. And this goes back to the ultimate BNI line of givers gain. But to pass $1 million in 9 years, that's a lot of money for anybody. That may take some chapters 4 years to do, and he's done that by himself in 9 years, which tells you pretty stout. He's listening to everybody.
Absolutely. And I know that when Sean and I are working together and I send someone to them, Paul and Sean both do a one-to-one with them. They're not a BNI member, but they do a one-to-one with them to see one, how can they help that person grow their business? And how can the chapter help them as well? So they take care of the visitors that I send to
Yep.
them. So
So your goal by the end of 2019 is grow all your chapters by what, at least 20%?
I have a set goal for each of my
Yep.
chapters, the number of members that I want them to get to because I know that that will help them. But on the backside, I work with the presidents closely,
Mhm.
and So I send them again when somebody calls in looking for a chapter. I know the types of what power team that they want that they are in, and which group is the strongest power team, and I usually send them to the presidents that I have a good relationship with, and those visitors are taken care of. So that helps me as a consulting director,
Mhm.
but it helps the chapters as well. I know that my RTP chapter, we should have 40 members in the group by December.
Nice.
So it's
Mm.
just, it's exciting.
Well, if you or someone you know has a business or and looking to grow that or looking to start a business, we want you to go to trianglebni.com. In the upper right hand corner, you'll find a drop down that says Find a Chapter. Please take a look at it. They're mornings and lunchtime, 5 days a week. You will meet wonderful people like Mary. And Mary, we thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
But that will help you grow your business. Just come visit, like Mary said, just come visit once and see what it looks like. It may not be for you, but chances are you're gonna meet somebody that you can connect with because 'cause we're all there to help each other. And we'll hear another great story next week. Robert DeLasso with Master Key Property Management. We thank you for joining us today on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.